look like ordinary coins, but these 5 Washington quarters can secretly hold thousands of dollars in value. And today, we are diving into a deep, non-stop journey through the rarest, the most valuable, and the most mysterious Washington quarters ever minted from. Did you know that a simple 1981 Washington quarter in your pocket change could be the silent guardian of a hidden American story worth hundreds or even thousands to the right collector? And behind this tiny silver ring lies the drama of minting errors forgotten, silver plans, economic battles, and the unstoppable journey of the mighty Washington quarter into the pockets of millions. Today we unravel the full tale of the 1981 Washington quarters and their value secrets like never before. Let us begin this long walk through the winding roads of the American numismatic landscape, where each coin in your hand is not just metal, but a witness to the tides of economic shifts, social waves, and the relentless pulse of the United States of America. The Washington quarter, born out of a decision to honor the nation's first president, has journeyed from the Great Depression to the turbulent 80s, where 1981 stood as a silent chapter, yet holding secrets that most people never see when they glance at their change. Let us travel back to that year 1981, where Ronald Reagan was stepping into office. Inflation was a fear, gas prices were climbing, but the mint was pressing billions of coins to keep the economy flowing. The 1981 Washington quarter was struck at 3 key mints, Philadelphia, Denver, and San Francisco, each leaving its mark through the famous mint marks, P for Philadelphia, D for Denver, S for San Francisco. But did you know that in 1981, the Philadelphia Mint did not put a P on the quarter? The P mint mark was not yet standard practice. So when you hold a 1981 quarter without a letter under Washington's neck, you are holding a piece that was born in Philadelphia. Now the Denver Mint produced vast numbers too, and each D mark signifies its western birthplace. And then there is the S mark, which usually means the coin was not meant for circulation at all, but rather for collectors' proof sets that shine with a mirror-like background and frosted features. These proofs are the hidden gems of the 1981 run, because they often hold the highest quality strikes, but also because of their mistakes. Yes, mistakes, the errors that slip through the careful eyes of the mint inspectors, become the treasures that collectors hunt for with bated breath. Double die, obverse, double die. Reverse miss strikes off center, broad strikes filled. Mint marks, clipped planchets, and these minting anomalies transform a 25-cent coin into a trophy that could fetch hundreds or thousands if the right buyer appears. Now look closer at the metal itself. The 1981 Washington quarter is a clad composition, a sandwich of copper and nickel, that replaced the 90% silver coins of the pre-1965 era. The silver had become too precious for everyday circulation, and so the clad coin was born. Yet sometimes, by mistake, a leftover silver planchet from earlier years might have found its way into the 1981 presses. When this happens, and when the coin escapes the rigorous mint checks, you might hold a rare silver quarter in your hand, a treasure hidden in plain sight. Now the design is familiar, the stoic profile of George Washington adapted from the bust by Jean-Antoine Houdon, sculpted by John Flanagan, adorns the obverse. The word liberty arches over his head. In God we trust nestles to the left, and the year 1981 sits below. On the reverse we see the heraldic eagle wings spread, arrows and talons, olive branches beneath symbolizing readiness for war and hope for peace all in one. The United States of America wraps around the top, and quarter dollar frames the bottom. Look closely at the feathers. The talons, the eyes of the eagle, because tiny doubling or shifts in these details can mean an error coin that collectors would pay a premium to own. Now travel with me deeper into the minting process. In 1981, the presses were mostly mechanical, but there was still human oversight. The dies striking hundreds of thousands of coins per shift wore down and sometimes cracked or shifted during use. This is where we get die cracks, cuds, or repunched mint marks that drive collectors wild. These small imperfections turn an ordinary coin into an extraordinary one, but only if you know how to spot them. Some 1981 quarters bear weak strikes because of worn dies. Others show strong, bold details because they were struck with fresh dies early in the cycle. and these early strikes called first strikes are sometimes more valuable, especially in top grades. Now the grading scale is another mountain that every coin must climb to determine its value from poor and good grades, where the details are worn smooth, to very fine, extra fine, and mint state. The highest mint state grades, like MS65, MS66, or even MS67 are rare for circulating coins, because handling, pocket wear, and machine counting all leave tiny scratches, nicks, and wear. So if you ever come across a 1981 Washington Quarter that looks untouched, flawless, under magnification with clean fields, sharp edges, and no bag marks, hold on to it, because top population coins attract top dollar at auction. Then there are the proof coins from San Francisco. These are struck multiple times with polished dies, on special planchets, giving them a deep cameo contrast that shines under light. Collectors prize these proofs. But even here, perfection is hard to find. Cameo and deep cameo designations raise the stakes, and so do errors in the proofs like missing mint marks or doubling, and sometimes unscrupulous folks try to create fakes by polishing or altering coins. But experts use magnification, weight, and metal tests to expose these counterfeits. Remember the 1981 proof. Sets were also sold directly to collectors, so many survive in pristine condition. But only the top-graded coins with cameo or deep cameo finishes can command high premiums. Now, the population reports from grading services like PCGS and NGC show us how many high-grade examples exist. And as more coins get submitted and graded, the populations change, affecting rarity and value trends. Some years see prices climb as new collectors enter the market seeking to complete their Washington Quarter sets from 1932 to 1998. The eagle reverse design stands as a continuous legacy until the 50-state quarters arrived in 1999, forever changing the quarter-dollar design. But that is another story, so let us return to the hunt. Today, treasure hunters search through rolls, bags, and boxes of quarters, looking for that elusive 1981 gem, a mint state beauty, a rare error, a hidden silver slip, or a proof that escaped into circulation. And when they find one, their hands tremble because they know they hold a piece of history and value wrapped in copper and nickel. That 1981 Washington Quarter that you might overlook in your change could be worth face value, or it could be worth 100, 200, 500 or more, depending on its grade, error, and demand. The market fluctuates, guided by the ebb and flow of the economy. Silver prices, collector trends, and generational shifts as older collectors pass on their collections to heirs who sometimes sell them, flooding the market with fresh pieces for new collectors to chase. It is a cycle that has repeated for decades and will continue as long as coins clink in pockets and cash registers. Now let us not forget the stories behind the coins, the people who designed them, the mint workers who handled them, the collectors who passed them down from parent to child, the auctions where bidding wars erupted over a tiny coin that once bought candy or gas. The 1981 Washington Quarter is more than 25 cents. It is a mirror reflecting a moment in time when America stood on the brink of economic recovery, when old minting traditions gave way to modern techniques, when silver memories lingered in a clad world, and when every small mistake became a doorway into the vast world of coin collecting. So keep your eyes open, your magnifying glass ready, and your curiosity alive, because in your pocket could be the next great discovery, the next great story for the Old Quarters Dollar Value Channel to tell. And this is why we treasure the humble 1981 Washington Quarter, a silent guardian of American history. Discover the secrets hiding in your pocket. Change the 1988 Washington Quarter. Could be worth more than you ever imagined if you know what to look for. This video will take you deep inside the untold stories, rare errors, and true dollar value of this overlooked piece of American coinage history. The story of the 1988 Washington Quarter begins long before the date stamped on its face. For to understand this coin, we must first step back to the birth of the Washington Quarter series itself, a coin born out of celebration and national pride. In 1932, the United States was preparing to honor the 200th birthday of George Washington, the father of the country, and the mint needed a coin that would forever immortalize his legacy. Originally, there was debate whether the $50 or the $quarter would carry his image, but ultimately the quarter was chosen. And so began the story of the Washington Quarter series for decades. This coin would circulate through the hands of millions, becoming a staple of American commerce. Now, when you look at the 1988 Washington Quarter, you might think it is just another modern-clad coin, but beneath its common appearance lies a world of numismatic intrigue. The 1988 quarter belongs to the clad era that began in 1965, when silver was removed from the quarter to keep up with rising silver prices. The mint shifted to a copper-nickel clad composition. So the 1988 quarter has a core of pure copper, sandwiched between two layers of copper-nickel, giving it the familiar silvery look on the surface. The obverse features the iconic bust of George Washington designed by John Flanagan, based on the bust by Jean-Antoine Houdon, a neoclassical masterpiece. The word liberty sits proudly above his head in God. We trust is inscribed to the left, and the date 1988 rests below his neck. The reverse showcases the heraldic eagle with spread wings perched on a bundle of arrows, with olive branches beneath symbolizing strength and peace. This design remained largely unchanged for decades, but what makes the 1988 Washington Quarter stand out is not just its classic design, but the hidden details, the mint marks, the errors, the variations, and the stories of the collectors who cherish these coins. The 1988 quarter was minted in 3 locations: the Philadelphia Mint with no mint mark, the Denver Mint with a small D mint mark, and the San Francisco Mint, which produced proof versions with an S mint mark. The Philadelphia Mint produced over 562 million quarters in 1988. The Denver Mint added another 596 million, and the San Francisco Mint struck about 3 million proof coins. Each of these mints tells a different story collectors hunt for. High-grade examples, brilliant uncirculated coins that have never seen a cash register or a vending machine. These pristine examples can fetch far more than face value, especially in high mint state grades like MS65, MS66 and higher. But it is the rare errors and varieties that truly spark excitement among numismatists. The 1988 Washington Quarter has a few known errors that make it stand out among collectors. Some coins were struck off-center with a portion of the design, missing due to a misalignment of the planchet and dies. These off-center errors can range from slight to dramatic, and the more dramatic the error, the higher the value. There are also doubled die varieties where elements of the design appear doubled due to a misalignment during the die creation process. While not as prominent in 1988 quarters as in other years, any verified doubled die variety is a treasure for a collector. There have also been reports of clipped planchet errors, where a piece of the coin is missing due to an error during the punching of blanks. These clipped errors are visually striking and easy for collectors to identify. Sometimes coins are struck on the wrong planchet, meaning a blank intended for another coin is used for the quarter, resulting in underweight or overweight coins with unusual metal compositions. These errors are exceedingly rare, but when found, they can be worth hundreds or even thousands of dollars beyond errors. The 1988 proof quarters from San Francisco are beloved by collectors for their sharp strikes and mirror-like finishes. These coins were never intended for circulation and come in special sets, but sometimes proof coins escape into the wild, and finding one in your pocket changes like striking gold. The story of the 1988 Washington Quarter is also a story of everyday America. It is the story of lunch, counters, jukeboxes, gas stations, and the millions of small transactions that make up daily life. It is a coin that has ridden in pockets, jingled in trays, and helped countless people make exact change today. Collectors scour rolls of quarters searching for that one high-grade gem or elusive error that might turn an ordinary coin into a prized collectible. The 1988 Washington Quarter reminds us that sometimes value hides in plain sight. The best way to find valuable quarters from 1988 is to educate yourself. Know what to look for. Check for clear mint marks, sharp details, clean fields, and of course study the known errors. The Red Book, the Cherry Picker's Guide, and online forums are invaluable resources for collectors to share knowledge and verify finds. Grading is crucial. because the difference between a common circulated coin and a valuable high-grade example can be dramatic. For example, an average circulated 1988 quarter might be worth just face value, but an MS-67 example can sell for well over $100 or more at auction. So it pays to know what to look for and to handle coins carefully, preserving their condition. When you find one with potential, store it properly in a protective holder, and consider having it professionally graded by a trusted service like PCGs or NGC. The market for Washington quarters is strong because they represent a tangible link to American history. They are familiar yet full of surprises. They are the coins we grew up with, and they tell the story of a nation evolving through decades of change. The 1988 quarter may not seem remarkable at first glance, but it embodies the enduring legacy of the Washington Quarter series and reminds us that the smallest pieces of our currency can hold big stories. So the next time you get a handful of change, take a moment to look closer. That 1988 Washington Quarter in your palm might just be a hidden treasure waiting to be discovered, and as you explore this journey deeper, remember to keep your eyes open, your mind curious, and your passion alive, because every coin has a story. And the 1988 Washington Quarter is a chapter worth reading in full. And so we continue the journey through the minting process, the planchets, the presses, the dies, the quality control, the distribution into banks and businesses, the hands it passed through, the pockets it sat in, the drawers it hid in, until one day a collector pulls it aside, studies it closely, compares it under magnification, checks the edges, the rims, the lettering, the details in the hair and the feathers, searching for that anomaly that makes the heart race, a double date, an off-center strike, a clipped corner, a planchet flaw, a mirror finish that hints at a proof loss to circulation. All these small clues connect us to the people and machines that shaped this coin decades ago, and the people today who keep the passion alive through coin, shows, auctions online, communities, and the timeless thrill of the hunt. The 1988 Washington Quarter is more than 25 cents. It is a reminder that history is always within reach, that stories are always waiting to be told, and that sometimes the simplest coins can teach us the most about who we are and where we come from. So keep looking, keep learning, and keep believing in the treasures that lie hidden in plain sight. Your next great find might just be one more quarter away. Did you know that a single 1982 Washington Quarter could hold a story worth thousands and reveal secrets of America's economy, history, and hidden minting mistakes that turned ordinary coins into extraordinary treasures? Today, we unlock the real history behind the 1982 quarters and why collectors will pay a fortune for them. If you think you know, quarters, think again. This story will change everything you believe about pocket change. In the year 1982, the United States was in the midst of economic turmoil. Inflation was high, unemployment was a threat, and the mint faced budget constraints that would change the way our quarters were made forever. The Washington Quarter, which had been in production since 1932, became the center of one of the most fascinating chapters in modern American coinage. The 1982 Washington Quarter carries more significance than what meets the eye. For starters, this was the first full year when the mint stopped producing proof sets for the public due to severe budget cuts. This means collectors had fewer pristine examples from this year, and the circulation strikes are all that remain to tell the tale. Imagine collectors decades later hunting through circulation just to find a decent quality piece. That alone would make these coins interesting. But the story gets deeper. The 1982 quarters were struck at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints. The Philadelphia mint coins carried no mint mark, as was customary until 1980, which is a story itself. But the Denver coins bear the D mint mark, and both mints faced problems that year that created what would become some of the most sought-after mint errors and varieties of the modern era. Due to cost-cutting measures, the mint reduced the number of dies they produced. This meant dies were used well past their prime, leading to coins that showed severe die deterioration and doubling, which today fascinates collectors. The famous no-P error dime from 1982 is often talked about, but few know the same conditions led to interesting varieties on the quarters as well. These coins were also the first years the mint did not produce mint sets for collectors. Again, a decision driven by cost. This meant that millions of people missed out on pristine, uncirculated coins, and collectors now have to search circulation finds and dealer stockpiles for coins in decent grades. What does this mean for the modern collector? It means that a 1982 Washington Quarter in gem uncirculated condition can fetch significant premiums far above face value. The scarcity of higher grades is compounded by the fact that these coins were spent circulated and worn down, without anyone saving rolls, because no sets were available for collectors to stash away. The composition of these quarters remained the standard copper-nickel clad that had been introduced in 1965, but the quality control slipped during the production process, sometimes leading to off-center strikes, broad strikes, and double strikes, which today command a premium. The story of the 1982 quarter cannot be told without mentioning the broader economic context. The early 80s recession put the squeeze on many Americans, so saving quarters for speculative value was far from the minds of people struggling with mortgage rates and unemployment. But for the U.S. Mint, it was a time of modernization and austerity. Combined, the result was coins that had to be produced more cheaply, more quickly, and with less oversight. The collectors of today reap the results of these decisions when they discover unique examples hiding in rolls pocket change or old jars passed down through families. As we dive deeper into the minting process of the 1982 Washington Quarter, we find that the dies used were often overused. Sometimes the design would become mushy, and the finer details like the hair above Washington's ear or the eagle feathers on the reverse would blend together. This made grading the coins more complicated, but also created opportunities for varieties to emerge. Repunched mint marks were not as common in this year due to newer techniques, but the die deterioration, doubling, and clash marks added an extra layer of intrigue. The story of the quarter would not be complete without addressing the collecting community. In the early 80s, coin collecting was going through a period of transition. The silver boom of the late 70s had ended, and the modern market had yet to fully embrace clad coins. But specialists began to see that coins like the 1982 quarter could be keys to understanding the mint's evolution. In a time of crisis, you will find stories of collectors hoarding rolls of 1982 D quarters, hoping for the elusive high MS grades or hidden errors. While the Philadelphia coins saw similar attention, the lack of a mint mark, which had been reinstated in 1980, still caused confusion among new collectors, leading to myths about missing mint marks, which more often than not turned out to be damage or wear. But the fact remains, any high-grade example from this year is a prize when it comes to pricing. The values for these coins can vary dramatically. While a common circulated piece might be worth its face value, an uncirculated example in MS-65 or higher can command $20, $50 or more, depending on the demand in the registry market. The real treasures lie in the discovery coins, the off-center strikes, the double dies, the broad strikes. Each of these mint errors is a snapshot of the mint's struggles that year. These coins tell a story of a workforce under pressure, equipment stretched beyond its limits, and an economy that left its mark on every quarter struck in 1982. To this day, new varieties continue to surface, with hobbyists scouring bags and rolls for anything unusual. The quest for the perfect 1982 quarter is part of a larger journey into the history of American coinage and its enduring legacy. You may ask yourself, why does this small piece of metal matter so much? Why does a Washington quarter from 1982 capture the imagination of collectors across the country? The answer lies in its symbolism. It represents an era of change, economic uncertainty, and the resilience of a mint that had to do more with less. Every scratch, every die crack, every doubled letter on a 1982 quarter is a testament to this pivotal moment when the mint balanced tradition with necessity. The story of the quarter also intersects with the broader numismatic world. As third-party grading services emerged, collectors began to see the value in submitting even common-clad coins for certification, a process that solidified the importance of quality, condition, and authenticity. The graded population reports for the 1982 quarters are a treasure trove of information for researchers and investors alike, showing how few high-grade examples truly exist. When you hold a 1982 Washington quarter, you hold a piece of that history. You hold a relic of a time when America faced tough economic challenges, and the mint rose to meet them. You hold a symbol of everyday commerce that became an extraordinary collectible in the hands of those who knew what to look for. In the next segment of our journey, we will explore the specific errors and varieties you should hunt for. We will examine the differences between Philadelphia and Denver coins, how to identify die deterioration, doubling how to spot off center strikes that can increase value, and how to grade your coins effectively to maximize your investment. We will talk to veteran collectors who share their stories of the big finds and the ones that got away. We will visit coin shows, auction houses, and grading labs to see how a simple 1982 quarter can travel from your pocket to a collection worth thousands. We will uncover the secrets of storage, preservation, and the best practices to ensure your coins survive for future generations. And we will wrap up with a vision for what the future holds for these modern-clad treasures in the ever-evolving world of numismatics. So stay with us as we peel back every layer of the 1982 Washington Quarter. Its history, its value, its hidden gems, because in the world of coins, even the most ordinary can become truly extraordinary when you know where to look. Keep watching, keep hunting, and may your next pocket change reveal a piece of history that transforms your collection forever. Did you know that a simple 1985 Washington Quarter in your pocket could unlock a hidden story of American minting secrets, the legacy of George Washington, and the mysteries that drive collectors wild? This is not just pocket change, this is history, waiting to be discovered. Stay with me as we uncover every twist behind the 1985 Washington Quarter. Its value, its errors, its secrets that could make you richer than you ever imagined. Journey through time, where we dive deep into the story of the Washington Quarters, especially the remarkable 1985 Washington Quarter, a piece of metal that carries not just the face of the first president of the United States, but also the weight of decades of numismatic heritage. The Washington Quarter was first struck in 1932 to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. It was supposed to be a one-year, commemorative coin, but the public loved the design so much that it became a permanent fixture in our coinage system, replacing the standing Liberty Quarter that preceded it. The original designer, John Flanagan, created an image that has become iconic, a profile of George Washington that we still see today. The 1985 Washington Quarter stands at an interesting crossroads in coin history, because by the 1980s, the United States Mint had already transitioned to copper, nickel-clad composition, which began in 1965 due to the rising costs of silver. The composition of the 1985 quarter is a clad sandwich, outer layers of 75% copper and 25% nickel, bonded to a core that is pure copper. This change, which started 2 decades earlier, ensured that everyday people could still use these coins without worrying about the value of the metal, exceeding the face value by 1985. The Philadelphia Mint and the Denver Mint were the primary producers of Washington Quarters that year, with the San Francisco Mint striking proof coins for collectors. The Philadelphia Mint coins bear no mint mark, while the Denver Mint coins are marked with a small D. The San Francisco proof coins have an S mint mark. Each mint produced millions of these coins, but the hunt for rarity comes not from the mintages alone, but from the hidden errors, the small mistakes that turn an ordinary quarter into a numismatic treasure. Errors like double dies, off-center strikes, clipped planchets, and weak strikes are the stuff that collectors dream about. The 1985 Washington Quarter has its share of these rarities. For example, some collectors have reported finding double die obverse examples, which means that certain design elements like the date or the motto, "In God We Trust," show a doubling effect caused by a misalignment during the hubbing process. Other known varieties include repunched mint marks. Although by 1985 most mint marks were machine-stamped onto the working dies, rather than by hand, which made these errors rarer. Still, let us not forget the conditions that can amplify the value of a 1985 quarter coin condition. is king in the world of coins, mint state coins. Those that have never been circulated and still have their original luster command top dollar. The Sheldon coin grading scale is the standard here, with MS-60 being the baseline uncirculated grade and MS-70 being the perfect coin free of any marks or blemishes for a 1985 Washington Quarter. Finding one in MS-67 or higher is quite rare, especially since these coins were mass-produced for circulation. Everyday wear and tear reduces the odds of finding pristine examples. Auction records show that some high-grade 1985 Washington Quarters have fetched hundreds of dollars at reputable auction houses, especially if they are certified by grading companies like PCGS or NGC. And then there are proof coins struck at the San Francisco Mint. These coins are made using specially polished dies and planchets, resulting in mirror-like fields and frosted devices. They are sold directly to collectors in sets and never intended for general circulation. A 1985 S-proof Washington Quarter in perfect condition can also bring a premium, especially the elusive cameo and deep cameo designations that refer to the contrast between the mirrored fields and the frosted design elements. Now let us step back to understand why collectors even care about a common date, like 1985 when millions were made. The answer lies in the journey each coin has taken. How many have survived the passage of time without scratches, dings, or signs of wear? How many have unique errors that escape the eyes of mint inspectors? How many have been lost to vending machines, coin-operated laundromats, or simply slipped into piggy banks and forgotten forever? This is where rarity is born, through the attrition of everyday life. The Washington Quarter itself tells a larger story about American coinage. By 1985, the Mint was experimenting with new technologies and methods to keep up with the demand for coins. The introduction of modern coining presses, the use of computer-aided design, and the push for efficiency sometimes resulted in production errors that would become prized collectibles decades later. Collectors are the guardians of these tiny anomalies, these treasures hiding in plain sight. Think about the journey of a single 1985 Washington Quarter. It could have been struck at the Philadelphia Mint early one morning on a brand new die. Its planchet carefully prepared, its design sharply impressed. Maybe it was bagged and shipped to a Federal Reserve Bank, then rolled and sent to a local bank where it landed in the cash drawer of a convenience store. Perhaps it changed hands 1,000 times before ending up in your pocket or in your grandfather's coin jar, waiting to be rediscovered by someone who knows what to look for. And when we talk about what to look for, collectors examine the tiniest details: the rims, the edges, the fields, the devices. They check for die cracks, cuds, planchet flaws, lamination errors, and more. A strong magnifying glass or a good microscope becomes your best friend in this hunt, and the thrill of finding that one coin that everyone else overlooked is what keeps the numismatic passion alive. Now let us not overlook the cultural significance of the Washington Quarter for generations. This coin has been a staple of everyday transactions. Kids have used it to buy candy. Parents have dropped it in parking meters. Families have flipped it to settle arguments, heads or tails. It is more than a piece of metal. It is a shared experience, a tiny symbol of American life in your hand. By the mid-1980s, the Washington Quarter had already seen more than 50 years of use and would continue its journey until 1998, when the design changed to the State Quarters program. That program breathed new life into the series, with each state getting its own reverse design starting in 1999. But that is another story for another time. The 1985 Washington Quarter remains one of the last classic examples before the change, a snapshot of the original design that had graced pockets and cash registers since the Great Depression. So if you ever find a 1985 Washington Quarter in your spare change, do not just spend it without a second thought. Study it, admire it, consider its journey, check its condition. Look for the telltale signs of errors that could multiply its value many times over, and remember that every coin has a story. Every scratch and mark tells of its adventure through decades of American history. For the serious collector, building a set that includes high-grade examples of each mint mark, proof coins, and known varieties is a rewarding challenge. A set that tells the complete story of the 1985 Washington Quarter is a testament to patience, dedication, and an eye for detail. And that is the heart of coin collecting, to preserve history in your hands, to connect with the past through something so ordinary, yet so extraordinary. So the next time you hold a Washington Quarter from 1985, remember, you are not just holding 25 cents. You are holding a piece of our shared American heritage, a tiny artifact that speaks of minting technology, economic changes, and the enduring legacy of George Washington. Himself, keep searching, keep studying, and maybe, just maybe, you will be the one to find that elusive rarity that changes everything now. Keep watching as we go even deeper into the world of valuable quarters, because every coin has a secret, and together, we are going to uncover them all. This is not just a 1977 Washington Quarter. It is a tiny silver and copper time capsule that tells a story about America's economy, its minting secrets, and the collectors who would do anything to find the rarest hidden gems among billions of coins. The story of the 1977 Washington Quarter begins in the late 70s, a time when the United States was recovering from economic shifts, political uncertainty, and rising inflation. The Washington Quarter itself was first introduced in 1932 as a commemorative coin honoring the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth. What started as a single-year design became one of the most enduring and iconic coin series in American numismatics. Now, by 1977, the Washington Quarter had already seen decades of circulation, and collectors had developed a keen eye for subtle variations in its design, mintage errors, and mint marks. The 1977 issue was no exception. While millions were struck at the Philadelphia Mint and the Denver Mint, collectors today hunt for rare versions that feature minting anomalies or unusually high-quality strikes. The obverse still carried the familiar bust of George Washington, designed by John Flanagan, whose work had become a symbol of American coinage stability. The reverse displayed the proud heraldic eagle clutching arrows and an olive branch, a reminder of the nation's balance between readiness and peace. When you hold a 1977 quarter, you hold a coin that survived the pockets of a changing nation. The late 70s marked a transition period in American currency. No longer were quarters struck in 90% silver. Instead, they were made of a copper core clad in nickel, a cost-saving measure that began in the mid-60s as the price of silver skyrocketed by 1977. This clad composition was firmly entrenched, but it also opened doors to new kinds of mint errors. The clad layers sometimes failed to bond properly, resulting in dramatic mint mistakes that command high prices among collectors. Today, imagine a freshly struck 1977 quarter, leaving the press in the bustling halls of the Philadelphia Mint, where no mint mark was used that year, or the Denver Mint, which proudly stamped its coins with a small D below Washington's ponytail. Millions of coins poured out daily, handled by mint workers who monitored for striking issues, but errors inevitably slipped through. Some quarters were struck off-center, creating crescents of missing metal. Others bore double dies where the design appears doubled, adding a ghostly shadow that can make a single coin worth hundreds, even thousands, to a dedicated collector. The history of the 1977 Washington Quarter also intersects with the story of the American economy. At the time, gas prices were fluctuating. The Cold War loomed in the background, and Americans carried these coins in their wallets to buy a gallon of gas, a candy bar, or a newspaper coin. Operated machines still ruled daily life: vending machines, payphones, and laundromats, all hungry for quarters. So it is no wonder that finding a 1977 quarter in pristine, uncirculated condition today is a challenge. Yet such coins do exist, tucked away in bankrolls, coin jars, or forgotten drawers. The finest examples, graded MS-65, MS-66, or higher, are the crown jewels for those who cherish this series beyond circulation strikes. There are also proof versions, but for the 1977 quarter, these proofs were struck at the San Francisco Mint. They bear the S Mint mark, and were specially made for collectors with extra care given to striking and polishing the dies. These proof coins are admired for their mirror-like fields and frosted devices. They never saw circulation. Instead, they were carefully packaged and sold to collectors who hoped they might gain value over time for the numismatist. Every detail of a 1977 Washington Quarter tells a story. The thickness of the rim, the sharpness of Washington's hair curls the clarity of the motto "In God We Trust." And the date itself, all of these features must be studied with magnification to spot signs of doubling die wear or repunched mint marks. Although the latter is less common for this year, entire books and catalogs have been dedicated to listing known varieties of Washington Quarters, and the 1977 issue is a worthy chapter in that saga. Many collectors still debate the true rarity of certain varieties since new discoveries surface at estate sales, garage sales, or in inherited coin collections. What makes the Washington Quarter series so fascinating is its accessibility. Anyone can start collecting with pocket change, yet the hunt for the elusive mint errors and high-grade specimens transforms a simple hobby into a lifelong treasure hunt. Consider the journey of a single 1977 quarter. It may have been struck in Philadelphia on a cold January morning, rattling down conveyor belts bagged and shipped to Federal Reserve banks from there. It could have ended up in the register of a downtown diner used to pay for a cup of coffee, then given as change to a young student who kept it in a jean pocket all day over decades. That coin would pass through thousands of hands, absorbing the oil, dirt, and history of each owner. The Washington Quarter also connects generations. Many collectors recall how they learned to search coins with their parents or grandparents using simple magnifying glasses and well-worn guidebooks. By the time the internet age arrived, collectors could share high-resolution images of their finds, discuss subtle varieties in online forums, and trade or sell coins worldwide. But the allure of the hunt remains unchanged. The 1977 Washington Quarter continues to circulate in surprising numbers, yet many have been lost to time, thrown away, or melted, for scrap-clad coins have little intrinsic metal value, but their worth lies in rarity, condition, and the human stories. Attached to each piece, some quarters might even carry traces of post-mint damage like scratches, gouges, or signs of being used in jewelry settings. Yet it is the coins that remain closest to mint state that command the highest prices at auction. Dealers often submit their best examples to grading services like PCGs or NGC, hoping for a high grade that adds significant market value. It is not unusual for a flawless 1977 quarter to fetch hundreds of dollars, especially if it boasts an unusual error like a broad strike or off-center strike. Serious collectors seek these coins because they combine historical context with minting craftsmanship and the thrill of rarity. There is also the allure of the full-step detail on the Jefferson nickel. A similar concept exists for Washington Quarters, where sharp detail in Washington's hair curls and the eagle feathers is highly prized. So how do you find a valuable 1977 quarter? It starts with knowledge. Patience and an eye for the unexpected. Everyday pocket change can hide treasures, but the true gems are often uncovered in original bankrolls or old coin collections passed down through families. Each coin must be carefully weighed, measured, and inspected under good lighting to detect errors or varieties that the untrained eye might miss over time. You build an instinct for spotting a double die, a rotated die, or a planche flaw. You also develop respect for the minting process itself, the powerful presses that strike coins at incredible speed, the dies that must be aligned with microscopic precision, and the quality control measures that even today cannot catch every mistake. The 1977 Washington Quarter reminds us that even in an age of mass production, small imperfections become valuable rarities. The story of this coin series is not just about metal and design. It is about the people who collect them, the communities that form around them, and the thrill of the hunt that keeps coin shows, auctions, and online marketplaces buzzing with excitement. Whether you are a seasoned collector or a curious beginner, the next time you receive a quarter in your change, take a closer look for that small date that says 1977 for the tiny D mint mark, or the lack of one for a subtle doubling in the letters, or a rim that looks just a bit off-center. That ordinary coin could be an extraordinary find waiting to be discovered. And so the legend of the 1977 Washington Quarter lives on, in drawers, jars, albums, and auction blocks across America and the world. A symbol of a time when coins were more than just currency. They were miniature storytellers capturing the era they were born in, and whispering secrets to those who know how to listen.